Good morning. Welcome to the first school board meeting after the start of school. Are there any amendments to the agenda, Dr. Greco?
Madam Chair, there are one amendment to the agenda, the consent agenda number 4 on page 89. This was posted last Friday, and that is a recommendation of Nicole Holcomb, who's a teacher at Gibbs High School, to the assistant principalship at Dixie Hollins High School. And also, just for the board's notice, the special order agenda with Duke Energy, when we move this meeting from next week to this week, some of them are out of town. They really do want to be here to address this board, so I will reschedule that for our next meeting in September, and which is an evening meeting, and I think that would serve everyone really, really well. So thank you for that. That's all.
Regarding amendments to today's agenda, I find good cause to amend the agenda by adding a new consent agenda item number 4 to appoint an assistant principal at Dixie Hollins High School, and also to reschedule the special order agenda item for the presentation to Duke Energy. All pre-existing agenda items will be renumbered accordingly. Do we have a motion for the adoption of the agenda? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Yes.
Shouldn't this have come before Gagnon was appointed to the assistant to Nikita Reed? Shouldn't that have been, aren't we discussing this one about Gagnon being removed as assistant principal at Dixie Hollins?
No.
If you want to pull it as a consent agenda item to discuss, you can, but it's
the recommendation of Nicole Holcomb as the assistant principal.
yeah.
That's what the agenda is doing.
Oh, all right, so,
That's just the reason why there's a vacancy.
all right, so Robert Gagnon is no longer the assistant principal there, and we're filling the space with Nicole Holcomb.
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct.
All right.
Did you still want to pull the item?
Well, it's a little late for conversation now, because we already voted to pass him into that position last time, so
Okay,
we'll just have to go with it.
thank you. We have a motion with a second as it relates to approval of the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Today we will have invocation by Pastor Terry Rowland of Bayside Community Church, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem. Our national anthem today will be presented by Mike Vetter. He works in the Pre-K 12 Performing Arts Department. Thank you.
Let us pray. Gracious, loving, and all-knowing God, we come to you today and thank you. Thank you for new beginnings and the new beginnings that are a part of the beginning of a new school year. We thank you for the opportunities to inspire and motivate and challenge the students that are a part of this district. We pray for everyone who is part of the team to see that every student has success. We pray that whatever their job, whatever their role, even as volunteers, and especially as volunteers, may they see themselves and their role as integral to the task of seeing students succeed. Lord, we pray for each school that is a part of this district, that it might be a place where dreams and hopes flourish, where fears subside, and where hope is inspired. We pray that there are places that are safe, that this year might be a place of safety, void of violence, and filled with joy. Lord, we pray for these who serve on this board, that you might give them wisdom, knowledge beyond themselves, that they might make choices and decisions that are not only wise and profitable for today, but are beneficial for years to come. We ask in your name. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our cloud was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And thank you to the Pastor Terry Rowland for a wonderful prayer to start off our school year. Thank you. We'll have our video next. Throughout Pinellas County, students are being supported by an amazing team of educators who will help them achieve greatness in the year ahead. Let's watch how the start of 2018-19 school year was celebrated at San Jose Elementary, Azalea Middle School, and Lakewood High School.
I truly believe that the concept of greatness isn't born, it's grown. I believe in each and every one of you, but I also believe in your unlimited potential.
The best thing about the first day of school is all of the students coming back with smiles on their faces. This morning I got here at 6 o'clock a.m. and I had 2 students eagerly awaiting to get into the building.
We must work together at even greater levels, levels which refuse to allow students not to learn. We're in this together. It's not going to be easy, but we have high aspirations.
The most rewarding thing is really just to stand out and either shake hands, eyeball the students, say welcome to them, and let them know that we're going to have a great year.
So when things are challenging, you can learn a great deal. Greatness isn't born, it's grown. And while I believe and I know that we've made progress, there is much more work to be done. And as leaders, when you intentionally share your passion, you demonstrate your own grit and your own hard work, you know what happens? You ignite the passion of others all around you. And the key is keeping the motivational fire lit day after day.
Our commitment to elevating greatness is as fresh each day throughout the year as it was Friday afternoon as our teachers left to prepare for their first day of school.
This is important work. We're not going to quit. We're not going to reverse ourselves. We're going to get up, we're going to charge forward, and we're going to continue to succeed and to win. Think about all the students who will enter our doors this school year, and think about their dreams. And how will you and your team be part of that motivational fuel that tells them every day that we're in this together, it's going to be challenging, but yes, we will succeed.
At San Jose, I hope that we can continue to be a really strong community where we support each other as teachers, where we support each other, support our families, and most of all, that we support our children in their continued growth.
I am looking forward to a wonderful year, and it's going to be fabulous.
That was absolutely wonderful, and I love the tagline at the end. So we need to move forward with that one. I love that tagline. I saw myself walking the courthouse. I didn't realize that. Thank you so very much. We'll now have an introduction of professional and community organizations by Lisa M. Wolf, our Public Information Officer.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego and staff, it is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. Representing the Pinellas Educational Support Professionals Association, Nellie Henyes. With the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, Mike Gandolfo. Representing the Pinellas County Council of PTAs, Reagan Miller and Cindy Ehrenzeller. And today there will not be a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibilities Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that they are just getting reacclimated back to everything, so we'll be seeing them shortly. Yeah. Remember that we don't have anything under the special order agenda. Moving on to public comments on agenda items. Ms. Ann Simonetti.
Board members and Dr. Grego, we don't have any speakers signed up for specific agenda items this morning.
Thank you. No unfinished business. Moving on to our consent agenda.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record reflect a 7-0 vote. And I want to stop here and say welcome back, school board member. Yes, we missed you. Thank you. So we are glad to have you back. Yes. I'm sorry I didn't do that at the beginning. Please forgive me. Any non-consent? All right, so moving on to new business. Items introduced by the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to start out by saying thank you for your willingness to, as you know, I'll be traveling next week to Idaho with the Jacobson Foundation meeting, and I want to thank you for allowing this meeting to be moved up to today. So I appreciate that, and as you know, we have a workshop immediately following this board meeting, but it's rare that we have a board meeting immediately following that first day of school, so I can tell you we're a little worn, but we'll be fine. I do want to start my comments by, first of all, recognizing our board chair, Ms. Flowers, who received her master's degree this past weekend, and say congratulations to you. What an honor. I also want to introduce Beth Herendine, who I believe is in the audience. If she could stand up. She's our new Director of Strategic Communication. And we've asked her to, in your time and hers, as she gets her feet settled, she was with me all day yesterday, and to schedule an appointment with each of you as board members to get your feel for her office and for her as a communicator. As the Director of Communication, and just as we've done in the past. So I look for her to really be networking with each of you. So I look forward to her meetings with you. This past week, we also had the pleasure of welcoming Congressman Charlie Crist, who toured Walter Pinnell Service Center. Ms. Krasner, you were with us in the very first part of it, and thank you very much for being there. We talked a lot about safety, security, hurricane preparedness, and just an array of various topics. I certainly want to thank Congressman Chris for taking the time to visit us. I also attended the Bank of America Student Leaders. The Bank of America, and I want to say thank you to Bill Godey, who is president of the marketing aspect of Bank of America. They choose 5 students from the Tampa Bay area, and there were 3 of our students and 2 from Hillsborough. 8-week paid internship. They go to D.C. They meet a lot of the elected officials. It's just a tremendous experience. 2 of our 3 individuals are going off to the University of Florida. 1 is a senior at Countryside High School. What a delight to spend and have a quick bite with them. But thank you to Bank of America, because they have about 230, 240 students from across the nation who assemble at the Washington, D.C. in that leadership conference. And it's all about leadership with this, and we're grateful that our guidance counselors and teachers nominate individuals, and certainly with only 5, we were very happy to have 3 of those 5. Even though we've started school, I want to backpedal a little bit and say thank you to all of the contributors to Stuff the Bus campaigns. Rick Kreisman had one at the footsteps of St. Pete. We had 2 or 3 others. Thank you to the PTA, PTSA. Thank you to the Educational Foundation and to many organizations, our foundation, that sponsor the Stuff the Bus. We have a tremendous amount of supplies for students, and the students go through those supplies awfully fast, so it's never enough, and hopefully we don't stop that process, and because school's started, that we keep it going. Yesterday was, as I wrote you last evening, board members, one of the most successful start of school years that I've ever seen. From one perspective, after the debriefing at 4 o'clock, I wrote you, and we had I want to thank the 5 television stations that came out at 4:45 in the morning yesterday and greeted me and our bus drivers, and to show the importance of our transportation department and show the importance of each and every employee in our school district to make yesterday and the other 179 days run smoothly. We started with, we have just over 450 routes. We were fully staffed yesterday, and I want to thank the Human Resources Department and Mr. Herbick for his efforts in recruitment, not only in the summer, but throughout the school year. As I've said several times, and people are astonished, but we will travel over 11 million miles this school year, and most every day will become without an incident, and seldom will that be reported, but or ever. But I want to say right up front to thank you to our drivers who do a remarkable job with that. It was noted that we have very few, and I want to sing praise to the Human Resources Department and also the stability of our district. We had under 24 vacancies as the start of a school year, and you think about the size of our instructional staff, that's remarkable as we do adjustments over the next few days, 10 days, and many of those vacancies are in process of being filled. So for a district this size, we've done a remarkable job of filling all instructional, and each of those vacancies were staffed by a certified teacher and will continue to be staffed by a certified teacher. Many times an instructional coach that is an excellent teacher, and they will stay in that classroom until we hire somebody. But think about the number of schools we have and number of teachers, well over 7,000 for that remarkable number. So thank you to our Human Resources Department and to our principals and to everybody else who works so keenly on this all year round. I did visit 10 or 11 schools, but I have to say to you that I started out with the opening of our new Pinellas Technical High School at Seminole. Was greeted, and the principal and I and Mr. Hunt raised the flag for the first time as there was this rainbow that came over and I think everybody thought it was especially for them, so I think that's a good belief. But and so did Marty. And every school I went to, they said they took pictures of that rainbow as a symbol of a wonderful school year, start of a school year. But that school is just going to, as we grow that school, hopefully with another building and the outside courtyard and the inside, I greeted students. The students were so energized to be there. So it's not every day in Pinellas that we open up a new school like that. And I want to just thank the board for your support, each and every one of you, for your support of opening that school and taking a chance with that. The parents and the students really do thank you and have thanked us. I have to say that most of the discussion, even with the news media, it was yesterday, it was hard to get them off of the safety and security, even though that was very important. I wanted to sometimes talk about new programs and bring you a quick update with that. I did meet on several of my elementary visits. I did meet our school security officers in full uniforms, those yellow shirts with and I asked each and every one of them how the training was this summer, and they responded that it was very intense but very meaningful, and they very much appreciated it. So thank you to Sheriff Galtieri and for conducting that training. We'll have another training in October, I believe, and we'll have another one in right after the holidays, and another one we're going to schedule at the end of the school year to prepare for the 1920 school year. So that's really working well, and obviously I don't want to assume this, but we had every single school covered yesterday, and thank you to Chief Williams and Clint Herbick for your work not only yesterday but the months past. If you remember, we started this on March 14th, and here we are on August 13th opening schools. So that's not that long of a time that we not only provided the training and the security officers, but we also did all of the physical assessments of the building, as Mr. Herbick outlined to this board several times. And you'll be getting an update at the workshop in a little while, too. There's not a front office staff I went into that people are not smiling and greeting people, and the importance of that is so critical to as we serve students. I also had the pleasure of going back into the cafeterias and to give a shout out to the lunchroom managers And to give you another figure that's mind-boggling, we will serve over 16 million meals. We are the largest restaurant business in this community, and we'll serve that many meals. And the people, the men and women who work in the food service, and we changed the logo and we changed the name. So Food and Nutrition, yes, thank you. So we'll learn that. Just thank you for a very successful day. I think our parents appreciate, the parents I talked to yesterday very much appreciated the proactive approach that we as a district have taken on safety and security over the summer. They see what we've done. They see our schools are ready. The physical condition of our schools is just really tremendous, and you know, they're clean and they're approachable. Flowers, the beds outside. I mean, places of learning should be nicely maintained. So thank you to our maintenance department and the many people in our school district that truly work to make not only the first day but every day a really good one. A little bit prior to that, in August, we had ribbon cutting. I know Mr. Lantino might report on this at Gulfport Elementary School, and for the playground equipment. And thank you for being there, Ms. Lantino. And also, I want to announce that Bel Air Elementary School was named the Florida Power Library School. Their media center, their library is so powerful. It's the hub of their school. And if you're ever at Bel Air Elementary School, I would encourage you to visit their media specialists and just the work that they do. And it's such an energized place. The furniture's engaging. Everything is engaging about that media center. So certainly the teachers and everyone came back yesterday. I'm thankful that the sun was shining this morning, but everyone was in such high spirits yesterday. We can only control the things that we can control, and I can tell you that within our school buildings we were positive. It might have been raining yesterday morning, but it wasn't raining inside, and today is a beautiful day too. So thank you for your support, board members, and in the preparation of starting a school year. I believe that operating a school year really goes into the preparation over the summertime, and how we prepare is how we'll, you know, the crop that we'll kind of sow in as we go into the new season or new school year. And I can't thank and work and be blessed with working with such a great staff that each of these attributes were taken care of, whether it be finance, the money, the resources in the school sites early, not waiting for it, human resources, technology, everything was up and running with Mr. Lechner. I mean, student services, with our healthcare professionals, social workers, school psychologists, testing of students. I mean, I can go on and on. All of those things have to work in a timely fashion. And where we might fall short and learn from, let's learn from it and let's improve and let's continue to move on and build stronger systems along the way. So that's my report on the in the beginning of school. I thank you for that, and I'll keep that report just to that, as I know we have a workshop later on. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
You are so welcome, Dr. Grego. Any items introduced by the school board attorney?
No, not this morning. Thank you, ma'am.
Not this morning. Items introduced by board members. I have Ms. Peggy O'Shea lit up first.
Good morning. I just wanted to follow up on something Dr. Grego said. He mentioned that our school board chairperson, Renee Flowers, received her master's, but what he didn't say is, along with her was her daughter Kaisha, who also received her master's degree, same time, same place. And so we congratulate the entire family.
Thank you. Thank you.
The mother-daughter routine is going on yesterday, this weekend.
Thank you so much. School board member Lentino.
Yes, it was my privilege to be at Gulfport Elementary School, my former alma mater. I taught first grade there for 10 years. It was really a delight to meet all the teachers and Principal Hathaway and the president of the PTA. And we had the new coming president, I think, there as well. And it was a great celebration, and I was really pleased to be there. Yesterday, I had the privilege of being invited to the Gulf Beaches Elementary School, and I made a very nice presentation with making sure that the parents in that school knew what was going to be happening. And I will show you my little brochures, all from the Department of Education. These are all the expectations that we are going to be striving for as teachers in the classroom to hopefully make sure that we cover some of these very important curriculums that are designated for kindergarten, first, second, third, and fourth and fifth grade. Parents were very eager to receive these, and they were very glad that where I've been pointing out some of the things that will be covered in the schools. Maybe we won't be able to reach all of these items that are in the curriculum, especially since the workload of our teachers has been really increased for this year. And we hope that all our teachers will step up and make the best effort to include a lot of these pieces of the curriculum in their classrooms. We had a great time. The parents were having breakfast, and it was really nice to be there. So it was a great opportunity for me to reach out and meet the parents and to have good conversations with them as well. So that's my report.
Just a couple of things. Although I'm going to be involved after I'm off the board, I won't be here to talk about the history, but there are a couple of things I'd like to talk about. I remember for many, many, many years, the school board members and the school board office became the transportation and student assignment hub. Some of you probably remember where our phones just couldn't handle anymore. The board office needed to get help. And I have to tell you, I got no calls. I got one email about a complicated transportation issue. It was not a simple one. So congratulations to everyone, and having enough bus drivers and fully staffed. I think someone mentioned at the last meeting at Seminole Library, there were 2 bus drivers who were recruiting, and I had a chance to talk to them, and it was wonderful getting to know them also. So congratulations to everyone who had a part of that. I was able to go to the district-wide training of behavior specialists, and it was very well done, and I got to meet many of them and also the ESC teachers. I guess the part that I was not as aware of, when I go to schools, or when you go to schools, I'm used to the behavior specialist out taking a child out and, you know, dealing with them effectively. But much of their work is in the classroom. I just never focused on that part of it. And just remembering that all of us want to improve, and I think always to be able to get added techniques, because we do have some challenging behaviors, and the behavior specialists are able to really deal with that. And I think they're having a half-day training, a half-day every month, because often there's just one behavior specialist in a school, and a chance to be able not only have training, but to share things with each other. So that's really great. I went to Pinellas Technical High School, which is called Tech High, and the shirts say Tech High and everything else, for a meeting. It must have been on Thursday or Friday. I remember Frank McLean, who was the school board architect a number of years ago, always said, there was some criticism when this building went up, and he always said you can make something that looks good and it doesn't necessarily cost any more money. And many of our buildings are like that, but I think Tech High takes the prize. It is absolutely beautiful. And not only that, the teachers who were setting up their classrooms, the original building is being renovated, so the teachers had to take all that they're doing for the next month and a half into the new building. And they were just so enthused and happy. And I know it's not just the building, but I think it's the whole attitude that this is a new school. And again, the history from the early 90s, I and many in the district knew this is a jewel. And finally, we're using it the way, you know, absolutely we need to use it. So that's it. I congratulate everyone on the wonderful beginning of school. It didn't just happen. It took a lot of planning and work, and it's a good start for a great new year.
School Board Member Terry Krasner.
I just wanted again to thank Chief Williams and Dennis Russo and Clint Herbick and all the hard work that went into making the school safety plan. And as we did it, we did bring in some parents and teachers at different levels to review some of the materials that we've used, to get input from them too. But we need to continue to hear if there are concerns with dismissal or some of the different pieces that might be in the plan that maybe are not county-wide, because we've made a point of making sure that the systems in place for safety are going to be district-wide. And so if there's something at an individual school that you're hearing about, please go through the process of getting with your principal first and then, moving up, but definitely checking it out. We want everybody to still feel welcome, but we definitely, in the name of safety, have to do some things that maybe that we're not used to, but if we can improve upon it, we sure want to. And collaboration and teamwork is huge. We've got great PTAs, great school advisory councils at every school, and there's definitely a process and a way of work that you can work together to continue to improve. So thank you.
Ms. Long? School Board Member Long?
Yes, I just want to say that the transition to high school program this summer, the success really showed yesterday. I had conversations with the principals in my area, and this is one of the best 9th grade beginnings for the kids. And I think that they felt secure, they felt acclimated to their surroundings, and it had a wonderful impact. So, great job.
School Board, did you press your thing again, Terry?
No.
Okay. Okay, I just have a couple of things. First, I want to say super kudos to Principal Stephanie Woodard of Lakewood Elementary School and Danica Jones, Principal Danica Jones from Melrose Elementary. I had a chance to tour their staff over the Midtown community and other places throughout the city of St. Petersburg, so that they not only had an opportunity to see the environment from which our students come, but also to see the rich history in our community and to begin to understand some of the issues and concerns that those students bring. I didn't do it for Melrose, so they may get mad at me, but for Lakewood Elementary, I provided a country lunch at the Dr. Carter G. Woodson African American Museum, so they ate well, and then I sent them on to do a training with Mary, so I'm not sure if they stayed awoke or not through that, but I'm really thankful for the questions that they asked. They were just absolutely magnificent. So I know that we'll be hearing from them again, and I'll continue to visit those schools and focus on those schools. But I was just really excited to have a chance to spend a lot of time with those teachers and those principals. I want to say thank you to Advantage Village Academy and Pepsi Cola. Dr. Grego, if you remember, the gentleman came to the fundraising event we had for instruments. They actually distributed supplies to the teachers, for teachers to have certain supplies, cleaning supplies and additional school supplies in their classrooms. So I want to say thank you to them for doing that. I also want to say thank you to all of the organizations that provided free back-to-school book bags and back-to-school supplies, because that can get to be a lot when you're looking at juggling school uniforms, school clothes, shoes, and school supplies. So it's too many to name. It's a lot of them, but I want to say thank you to all of them. I also want to say again thank you to Dr. Grego and Clint Herbick for hosting Congressman Chris when they called. I couldn't be available that day because I was leaving to go out of town to graduate, but I pitched it over and you guys did a wonderful job. So thank you so very much for allowing him to see firsthand the wonderful work that we're doing in our district. I want to say thank you to Paula Texel and Seymour Brown. They may be sick of me, but every time someone calls and they say they want to work for the district and they send me their resume, I send it to Paula and Seymour, and I'm like, we got a teacher, we got a counselor. So thank you so very much for accepting those resumes that I've been sending you guys and working with them, because I've gotten wonderful feedback as it relates to that, and we've brought some on board. So thank you so very, and I have more coming today, by the way. I want to say thank you for that. I also want to say thank you for I want to say thank you to the contractors for Lakewood High School. The principal and staff were very worried about whether or not the front office would at least be inviting for the students because of the construction. And so I was there first thing in the morning, and she was very excited, you know, to have the office glassed in with the furniture and things of that nature. So I want to say thank you for that. Walking and trying to escort some students, ninth graders, into the hall to find their homeroom and then get them to their homeroom was wonderful. And then being able to speak with the staff that they had there that morning and just seeing the excitement in everybody. So I want to say thank you for that. I also want to say thank you to the Pinellas County Urban League for their style graduation program. School board member Lentino attended, Dr. Grego attended, myself. Our chancellor was the actual speaker for the program, and I think he did a wonderful job. I did not know all of that about Mr. Herschel Walker. I did not know his background, but to hear him talk about that just put me in the mind of even my experience and so many other students who were out there in an audience and things that they're going through right now. And I could tell by looking over at the students when he was talking about himself and his brothers, and some of the challenges about what he wanted to do versus what he knew he needed to do to be successful. So I want to say I am super proud of that program, and I look forward to the Urban League being able to continue on with that program because we in turn get wonderful students the following year who are prepared and ready to move forward. I just want to say thank you again to everyone that's sitting in the back row. Thank you to our bus drivers. Buses pass my house in the morning. I wave and ask them if they need a cup of coffee or whatever. But I want to say thank you because you are, yeah, they can get it. I know, but you know, I want to make sure they're okay. But I want to say thank you because you are transporting the most precious cargo. You're getting them there safely, and you take them on as though they are children of your own. So I want to say thank you for that. Congratulations to our new recruit in the back. I knew her from the city of St. Petersburg, so I know what type of work she can do as it relates to communication. And one of the things that we have done so much work in is making sure that we are communicating in a number of ways to get the information out to our parents. We have apps now that they can access. We have the ability to send messages to their cell phone through texting if they want. We certainly send out the messenger. I listened to my grandson's welcome back to school message from Dr. Grego. The principal sends stuff out. We use Peach Jar. We have one-on-one conversations. So we're doing a wonderful job in that area. I look forward to us continuing to promote the way that we communicate with our families. To the school board, I look forward to a wonderful year. We are just beginning, but I know that we are going to just have a wonderful year, and we will most certainly see greatness. So thank you all. School board member Lentino.
Yeah, I wanted to just acknowledge a letter we received from Maura Hedrick. She's a long-term teacher in the school district who has recently retired, and I think her letter has been, you know, I read the letter and I really appreciated the comments she made. As a kindergarten teacher, she was expressing the start day for this year in school is August 13th. And the law says that by September 1st, children have to be 4 or 5 by September 1st. This law seems to be kind of dated, outdated, because as she explains, this translates to 15 school days for a child not matching their chronological age or developmental age to the requirements and expectations of a school environment for their entire school career. So the developmental age for a child to be 5 by August 1st, I think, is a much better way to go, especially with our children as they're maturing over the, over the course of their education career. So very nicely, as Dr. Rafalski said, we need to focus on our local officials and the people that are doing the work in Tallahassee, and hopefully maybe at some point, if they have a brief moment in their busy schedule up there, to change the law. If we're starting our schools in August, in the middle of August, why should we be waiting for a child to be 5 by the September 1st deadline? So if Ms. Hedrick is listening to this message, I think we really should need to look at getting maybe a group or people to focus on getting the educational age of a child at 5 years old in August 1st. I think it would be much better for the child to be more mature at 5 before they start school in the middle of the August month.
I think that's the legislature.
So I think the legislature, we need to make some changes in the law, and I think that should be a priority for a kindergarten.
And I certainly, as the legislative rep for us, we can bring that also as a discussion before the FSBA so that they can. School Board Member Cook?
Yeah, we're going to be discussing our legislative platform, and I'm not following your logic. So when we do the discussion at the workshop, I probably want more clarification, but that's when we'll be doing some of our first discussion of what our platform is. And we may want to add that to it at the time or get clarification. But I think that's something that we can literally today talk about.
Right, the child should be 5 on August 1st.
Yeah, I get that, but and I'm saying we can talk about it when we're doing the legislative stuff,
Right.
so I can get more
Right.
More in line with it.
Yeah, they'll be more mature. Right.
That's what I need to understand. I
Right.
don't. But I think the opportunity for us to add it to the platform
Right.
would be something we could discuss.
Right,
this
and I
afternoon.
think based on her experience of all the years she's been teaching, she's
Right.
observed a lot of this lack of
Well,
maturity.
and I want the conversation to happen this afternoon.
Right.
So that I can
Okay.
ask some questions and get into it, because I don't know that that's what
Okay,
we want to
good.
do right now.
Thanks.
So I'm having a hard time following that logic.
Are there any other comments, questions, or concerns for the good of the order? If not, we will go ahead and adjourn our meeting and board requests.
Madam Chair, I had no board requests today. Thank you.
Thank you. We will adjourn our meeting, and Ms. Ann Simonetti, do we have any speakers for the public?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have 4 speakers this morning. Our first 2 are Lenore Faulkner and Joseph Morgan.
Good morning, Ms. Flowers and honorable school board members.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for your service. I am Lenore Faulkner, a Florida professional educator for 50 years, a graduate of the University of Florida in 1967. As one of the most certified math and science teachers in the state, biology, chemistry, math, science, health education, middle schools, and the gifted, I have been asked to travel to many countries with the people-to-people delegation. I can't do that because my son's been sick at the VA hospital for 19 years. And I've spent every holiday with him for 18 years. And over the past month, he's been in ICU when I was at the last meeting and emergency rooms many times. When this happens, I sleep with over there. So he's in the hospital right now. Last week, I read at the county commissioners, this at the county commission. In 2005, I attended a St. Petersburg Chamber of Commerce focus meeting. John Carassis was Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida at that time. He came and got me and asked me to stand with him in the back. It was 2005. He asked, "What happened to you? What happened to Pinellas Park Middle?" His wife, Kathy, taught with me and walked for me with 30 other of my team after I had my bone marrow stem cell transplant. I told him that my allergy doctor wrote a letter to the school board in February of 2003 for me to retire immediately. They never responded to the letter. The gentleman next to him asked to be introduced and then gave me his card. It was John Maroney, head of county commission. He invited me to come to the commission meeting. I thanked him for it. However, I told him I was way too busy going to Tampa. And in 2008, John was diagnosed with cancer. In December of 2008, I decided to come to the meetings. He wanted me to stay the entire meeting. We became close prayer partners when he went through his 2 bone marrow stem cell transplants. Over the last 15 years, I have become a research scientist who has focused on Common Core and the repeal of HB 7069. For 10 years, I have investigated charter schools in the United States. For the most part, they are run like the Florida lottery of 1988, bait and switch. Politicians and CEOs win and students lose. School history is not very helpful for most students. I asked the county commissioners to help you repeal HB 7069, and thank you, Mr. Kapersky, for doing that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can I have a microphone, please?
One is coming.
Or I can sit right here. I can sit right here and a microphone will reach down. I'm sorry. That way I don't have to hold the microphone. Joseph Morgan, Coalition of Pinellas County School Bus Drivers. Truth to power. I was in one of the most horrific school bus accidents January 3rd, 2017 that totaled the bus and left me with $19,000 in medical bills the school board will not pay. This school district pays poverty wages to their bus drivers and does not take care of injured drivers. Truth to power. There are 975 residents in Pinellas County. There are 10 residents and 2 union reps at this meeting. I have begged the school board for 10 years to have school board meetings at 6 p.m. so working men and women of this county can attend school board meetings. Truth to power. School board members, do you have thoughts of homosexuality? Do you have thoughts of incest? These are just 2 of the hundreds of questions on the MMPI test that Pinellas County School Board employees are forced to answer. We are all God's children. When are we going to stop this homophobic testing? During World War II, Nazis would sew an upside-down pink triangle to identify gay prisoners. What kind of badge is Pinellas County Schools trying to put on LGBTQ people today? As a young man, I backpacked through Europe, and I saw in Dachau how they did put pink triangles on people in prison camps. If you do not believe in this way of the testing that the school board does to their employees, please contact your school board members at 727-588-6300 extension 2. Tell them to stop MMPI testing now. I want to leave you with a simple quote. There may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. Elie Wiesel.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next 2 speakers are Mike Gandolfo and Keisha Murray.
Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. What's the difference between an educator and a doormat? It's an old joke, never was funny. It's even less so now. What hurts educators the most are the slights that come at the hands of the employer that they give their all to. Current transfer process is a travesty. All summer long, I have heard from veteran teachers who watched their dream jobs go to educators with little experience while they were not even afforded an interview. Annual contract teachers are the most likely to be willing to allow their contractual rights to be a secondary consideration to that of being able to keep their job the next year. Considering the fact that administrators are also on annual contracts, it must be comforting to them They have staff that will jump when they say jump. After all, we all have one-year contracts, but 30-year mortgages. Hiring the best qualified, most senior candidate is a fair and respected hiring practice which removes subjectivity from the decision process. Then 2 days before our students were to report for their first day of school, teachers across the county were told that their VAM scores were too low and they were assigned a new grade level to teach. Teachers who had prepared throughout the summer and preschool were forced to switch gears and embrace a new curriculum. Teachers were devastated and insulted. Their world was turned upside down, schools disrupted. Now there are more teachers teaching curriculum and grade levels that they have never taught before and leaving what they were most comfortable teaching and no doubt improving on every year. It seems our district has embraced the state's view that VAM is the end-all measure of good teaching. If educators cannot count on their district to protect them from the nonsense of VAM and other state atrocities, they will not feel loyalty to their employer. It's no wonder teachers are leaving the profession. Even the Pinellas County Schools Teacher of the Year has left us. She left us for a more appreciative private sector. Perhaps we should look at her VAM scores to see if VAM is what qualified her for the illustrious title of Educator of the Year with all the fringe benefits attached to it. How we evaluate teachers, overloading our classrooms, the hiring and transfer process, the bullying of annual contract teachers, the shabby way probationary employees are disposed of, this latest fiasco of teachers forced to move assignments right before the start of school are all straws that are breaking the camel's back. We've just started a new school year and teachers have already had enough of the consistent lack of concern for their morale. How do you think this will benefit our students? If my voice is to be consistently ignored, maybe a true climate survey and an exit exam is in order. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Keisha Murray. I am a school bus driver. I've been working with Pinellas County Schools for almost 13 years now. I am standing here on behalf of my son, Isaiah Murray, and other students, but I can't speak for them. I can only speak for my little boo-boo. He is at Calvin Huntsinger. He's in their school-based mental health program. And recently, I had to move my son in with my mother, who is a retired nurse. And she lives in Pinellas County, but I had to move him in with her so he could continue going to Pinellas County schools because I live in Pasco. That is the problem. I live about 1.3 miles from the line. Now, with transportation, I know it's an issue with transfers. We have Hillsborough County transfers, we have Pasco County transfers, but that only applies if you are homeless. We are not homeless, but my son is kind of technically homeless, but he still has a roof over his head, so to speak. I would like to maybe tweak the policy a little bit, or if it can be tweaked. Right now, I have gone up and down the chain. I have spoken with Ms. Lerner about this. I have spoken with Dr. Corbett about this. I have gone through the gamut of speaking, transportation, T-Mark, Mr. McBride, everybody about this, and I hear no, no, no. We can't. Professional courtesy, no, because you live in Pasco. I think that the policy should be tweaked as far as going into Pasco a little bit. I know Pasco is wide and vast, but I think with a little ingenuity, things can maybe be changed to the cutoff being maybe 2 miles in or 3 miles in. And if they want to come to school here, then great. If our kids want to go to school there, great. I see it as a win-win, but I know there's other things. It's not that cut and dry, it's not that simple. The school that my son would have to go to, if he were to attend Pasco County schools, if he were to move back in with me, would be about an hour away from me. And my son is, like I said, in a school-based mental health program. He is one of your more fragile students, as I've been told time and time again. But my fragile student, who now has to live with my mother, could possibly be ripped from the only family he knows, which is Calvin. He's been going to Calvin since he was in the 4th grade. He is now in the 10th grade. He's very special. And I just want you guys to take into consideration that maybe Pasco, Pinellas work together, have a little cutoff, and your more fragile students have a little bit more consideration, because it takes a lot. Change is a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, does this fall under the, you can apply for a space available if you're at a county? Or is there, I don't want to get into confidential information about our son, but can somebody just review this to make sure that there isn't a way that you can do this?
There's not a problem with
Okay.
him attending the school. The problem is transportation.
Okay. Oh, just the transportation, yeah, because you don't get transportation if you're out of county.
From your home to.
Okay,
No, you do not get, I'm sorry.
okay, all right.
We got it.
You got it.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention something that President of the PCTA, Mike Gandolfo, mentioned. The teacher that was nominated as the Teacher of the Year, what is the criteria for the school board to be acknowledging a Teacher of the Year? What is the criteria that we choose a Teacher of the Year to be outstanding? Does anybody know what that is?
We're at a different portion of the meeting. This is now public, the public hearing piece. Let's do that at the workshop this afternoon, where they can provide you with the criteria, because several people are interviewed through that process, and you're recommended, you're interviewed, et cetera. So, yeah, we can do that today at the workshop, because it is a lengthy, yeah, it's a lengthy process, but we can do that at the workshop.
I don't think she
Do
got
we have
the
any
grants
additional, no further speakers? All right. Thank you all so very much for attending. We will do our wrap-up for the end of the day's meeting. Do we all need a little break before we go upstairs for the workshop? A moment or two? We'll start as soon as everyone get upstairs. All right. Thank you all so very much for attending today's school board meeting. Have a wonderful remainder of the day. Thank you.